an interesting dream, the meaning of which eludes you, but you would like to have a dream interpreter give it a look and see what it means? Well, give us a shout at retroality@comcast.net, retroality@comcast.net, and we will send your dream along to our resident dreamweaver, Yvonne Ryba. Check out her website at yvonneryba.com, and we'll see if she can analyze it for a future segment. This week, she looks at a dream of a friend of mine, Tim Van Elstein, who runs a great Facebook page called Joyce DeWitt Birthday Party. That's facebook.com/Joyce DeWitt Birthday Party. Each April, he and his friends get together and celebrate the best of the underrated brunette female roomie of Three's Company. And this week, Tim shares his dream, which actually even pulls on some imagery of Jack Tripper from Three's Company. So listen to this, it's very interesting. And again, send us your dreams and we will tackle them in a future episode. But now, let's catch up with Yvonne Ryba. Hello again, Yvonne. How are you?
Hi, Chris. Well, I'm doing very well, and we're having a series of thunderstorms going over, so at the moment we're fine.
Thank God. Gotta love that weather in Texas.
Yes, you never know.
Even as we enter fall, you always have thunderstorms and all sorts of fun back there.
Yes, well, we needed the rain. We've been drought, in Texas. It's been really bad, so we're okay, though.
Good. Well, speaking of fall, I have a dream from one of our listeners, one of my Facebook pages, and I say fall because, like me, he's a big fan of Three's Company, and there's a lot of falling down on Three's Company. And he even, every April, he does, for the last few years, a Joyce DeWitt birthday party. It's so fun. Oh. He does like the red carpet, and they dress up. It's like Three's Company Halloween on
how wonderful.
Joyce's birthday. So
yeah. Does Joyce know?
I think she does. I think there's a connection there where she has found out, and it's totally reverential. Even though Tim's a funny guy, it's totally reverential to Joyce's legacy. And so hopefully one day this will become a national event.
Well, I hope so. Joyce is a friend of mine, and she came to our wedding. When Peter and I got married, she came to our wedding, and we had a great time. Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
She's a lovely person,
and
she did a lot of falling down herself there with John Ritter for...
Oh, yes.
So Tim is, definitely a fun and funny guy, and he submitted this dream, a little bit of backstory. He's also studied interior design at the Art Institute of Las Vegas, and I think for like the last several years he's worked in the entertainment industry at the casinos there, perhaps more in a managerial role with the technical aspects, but he's a very creative person. So this is the dream he submitted.
Okay.
Weird dream of the night. Dreamt I got a job at a super pretentious design school, only to find out I was actually a student. Anyway, I rolled up to class with a glass of wine, and no one looked at me strange. Don't worry, I chugged it before going in. I'm classy. Then couldn't figure out what to do with the glass, so I tossed it in my bag. So class starts, and we stay the day with some super choreographed yoga, ballet, modern dance, and I was totally Jack Tripper getting shoved around trying to find my spot. Anywho, everyone was super bitchy, and they made me sit on the floor. At least in this dream, I had pants on, because usually I'm pantsless. So, there you go.
Good for him.
It totally reminds me of an episode of Three's Company where Jack crashed Janet's aerobics class with all the totally serious dancers and, the klutzy Jack. But this is a real-life dream that Tim had. I think lots of there for you to work with, right?
Absolutely. I've got some notes.
Great.
I'm working on, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's interesting that you mentioned that he'd done interior design.
Yes.
Because, for many years, my British husband, when we came across here, that's what he did. he worked with designers doing these folk finishes and special effects. When we lived in California, in Los Angeles, he taught classes to some of the guys in the film industry who were doing sets, They wanted to know how to do marble and paint marble and stuff onto the, the pillars and things like that they do for movies. I mean, they don't want to get real marble in. And he was showing them how to do the quick versions. And so, yeah, I get where Tim's coming from. Very creative. Very creative feeling about this dream.
Great.
Okay. And he thought it was weird. Right. Okay, dreamt I got a job at a super pretentious design school. Only to find out I was actually a student. Right. Bit of a bummer there.
Right.
Okay, so he goes in, and this is his desire. The desire is, I get a job at the super pretentious design school. All right? I'm already at the top. To find out only that, no, when you get there, you realize that you need a lot more knowledge or training or something extra to get yourself there. Because at the moment, they still think that you are a student.
Right.
They're not going to let you in at the top until you have done something extra. That's what students have to do. They have to do some more work. I like the idea of him going up to class with a glass of wine. That was good. But you know what? We've done this before with wine. And so, see if you can remember. What does it mean when you're drinking wine, or any alcohol really, in a dream?
Well, they call them spirits for a reason, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. And so it's a play on words. Your subconscious loves to do this. It loves to play with words and give you symbols. So a glass of wine, and drinking it down. I like that he chugged it down. That was good. It means that he needed spiritual intake. Okay? Forget about it being alcohol. We're talking symbols here. And this is, yes, what you need before you go into class is to imbibe spiritual knowledge. Spiritual uplift or growth or whatever you want to call it. All right? An evolvement in some way. Now, spiritual is not the same as religious. We all know this.
Right.
It doesn't mean he has to be going to church, but he does have to have a spiritual practice of some kind. And a lot of people do meditation, and some people do other things. It just depends on the personality. Ritual is important for a lot of people because ritual focuses your mind.
Right.
So anyway, next part of the dream. Let's see. Gets an empty glass, and he puts it in his bag. Now, bags in dreams. For a man, the bag is not quite the same as the handbag for the woman. Because women all carry their handbags around with them, but it is baggage, all right? It's stuff we carry with us, all right? It's our identity. It's stuff we have to walk around all day because that's who we are, all right? It's our tools of the trade, it's our identity, it's our money, it's all those things. So the bag is just what is part of his everyday life, as it were, and he puts the glass in because he will probably need it again. The glass is a wonderful symbol. Glass is clean and clear, all right? In itself, it can be a symbol of spirit as a container for it, right? You pour wine into glasses. Or water is also a spiritual symbol too. But here we've got wine, so he's taking it with him because it's part of him. He is a regular spiritual imbiber, if you like. He must have some kind of spiritual practice, and we need to find out from him sometime what he actually does.
Right. Okay,
so he gets his wine down, and off he goes to class. And only to find that, I don't think it's what he was expecting, but it's some kind of super-duper combination of yoga, ballet, and modern dance. I'd like to have seen that. That would have been interesting.
Wouldn't that have been?
Yeah. No, I did modern dance in college many, many years ago. Very expressive. Modern dance is you expressing through movement.
Right.
And can be, it's like ballet, but only ballet is even more disciplined. And as a kid, my mother made me go to ballet classes, and, it's very wonderful. The exercises to strengthen your legs and your arms and all that stuff were very hard on you at the same time. So he's picked forms of expression, physical expression, that are very disciplined.
Very disciplined,
and,
yes.
And the yoga, well, it's not exactly dance, but it's got a lot in common. One, you have to practice it regularly. It is spiritual. In fact, it's been criticized by some fundamental religions, as a matter of fact, as being a sort of way out kind of religion. I read about that. Yes, I was quite amazed when I read that. But it's true that it actually emphasizes harmony and balance in body, mind, and spirit in the person. So that's where this dream is pointing your buddy here. him. In his mind, he is investigating where he wants to be in his life. The desire is to go in there and become something really wonderful at the top of his profession.
Right.
And he went to design school, so obviously in that kind of a thing. At the same time, his subconscious is saying, you know what, you're going to have to do some more work on this if you want to get there. All right, you've got to have to, if you want to change over to another, like, arm of the, whatever it is, the entertainment business, or what, Las Vegas is an over-the-top place, okay? You know, I used to live near Las Vegas, and it's all about being over the top. It's fantasy land, it's imagination run riot, and anybody who's got any brilliant, they are just so wonderful, the people who work there and create all these fabulous places.
It's definitely showy.
Oh, it's showy.
Yeah.
It's showy, but it's an adult, you know, kind of playground in a way, not just for the gambling, but for just wandering around these different fabulous casinos and hotels. You know, they're all beautifully done in very distinctive styles. So you've got you've got a lot of creativity here.
A lot of art and entertainment combined.
A lot of art. So now, when he's been stuck in this high-powered, super advanced dance class, he starts... He's a jack tripper. He's getting shoved around because they've been super bitchy, he says, because this is his first day. I mean, how does he know what the heck he's supposed to be doing?
Right.
So in the dream, he has to sit on the floor. Now the floor, the floor. Let's look at it. Sitting on the floor. The floor is the base on which we put things. It's our foundation, all right? It's the grounded part of it.
The earthy part.
Yes, the earthy part, yeah. So he's starting at the beginning, as it were, but he's got a good foundation. The fact he still has his pants on is good, too. You know, it's like, well, he's not too vulnerable. You know, when you run around in your underwear in a dream, a lot of us feel vulnerable, or even without our underwear, with, you know, just running around in the nude. That's either a symbol of we are totally unconcerned about what people think about us, very confident in ourselves, or we're feeling terribly uncomfortable and ashamed because we're running around in the nude. We feel very vulnerable.
Right.
All right? Now, when you're not running around in your underwear, here he's sitting on the ground, but he's still got his pants on, and it means that he's not feeling that vulnerable. I mean, he's not totally lacking in self and then being confident. I mean, he's very confident. And he's Jack Tripper, by the way. That's got a very light-hearted touch to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you told me that he does this birthday party for Joyce, and obviously an aficionado of Three's Company, and so on. Identifying with Jack Tripper in the dream, was tripping, you know, falling over.
Tripping.
Yeah. Also, I don't mind making myself into a bit of a fool if I'm going to get where I want to be.
Right. You can be the jester, but with Jack Tripper, there was always there was a cleverness to Jack Tripper.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of feeling that comes over in this dream, that, well, I may not be up to, you know, this high-power standard that they're all setting in this class, but I'll just sit here and watch this for a bit. I will get there. You know. Now, the subconscious and everything in the dream, and the super bitchy bit as well, and that's important. Everything in the dream, you have to remember, is all you. It's all parts of you. So the super bitchy people are also part of him. And they're him saying, criticizing himself.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's part of him is saying, you can't do this. And the other part is saying, give me a chance.
I think we all have that side of ourselves that is our own worst critic, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they hear their critic and they don't do anything. They say, oh, that's it. No good me doing anything. I'll just stay here. But he's not going to do that. There's a certain ending to the dream where he just sits there and obviously feels like he's watching what's going on so he can learn, is I need to get into it. I'm going to see how I'm going to do this. So his subconscious is saying, if you want to fulfill your desire and your dreams in your life, you're going to need some extra training, classwork, study, whatever, go to school, whatever it is that he has to do.
And he did tell me that he's been contemplating a return to design art in some way, shape, or form, but he isn't really sure right now what he wants to do, but he's also thinking about returning to school in some way as well. So there's a professional and an educational blending of things that is going through his head right now of how to approach, you know, this part of his dream, his waking dream.
Well, a great part of it has a spiritual feeling to it. The yoga is a balance between the body, mind, and spirit. And through spirit, we become more creative, because that's what Spirit intends for us. I'm a science of mind practitioner, I've told you this before, and what you think, you become. As a man thinketh, it says in the Bible, so he is.
Right.
And Ernest Holmes said, what you seek is seeking you. You draw to yourself your desire. So you do this because you open to Spirit, and Spirit is the inspiration and the creation that flows through it. So here we've got somebody who has got is aware of it. We've all got a spiritual nature, but he's very aware of it, and he wants to develop his creativity. He sees he needs something to help him to get where he wants to be, probably some extra, training class or whatever it is. And there was an aspect, this is just me, all right? And he said yoga, ballet, modern dance, all highly disciplined forms of expression in the physical and mental. You can't do yoga without the mental and physical, but it's a spiritual practice too. And there's an Eastern feeling around it. And I'm wondering if that might not be a little bit of a clue to him to help him to get what he wants. And you said he's into design, so he might want to be influenced by that kind of civilization, spiritual practice, whatever it is. I mean, there's all sorts of things that could mean, and I don't know enough about him from this dream to get into it. But if he has any more dreams, let's hear them, and we'll be able to help him.
Right. So in terms of his work, the creative expression, there's perhaps an Eastern influence with a spiritual. I mean, what pops into my mind is like, feng shui.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's very popular. It's not known by a lot of people that some of the big companies use it, to create a much more pleasant and well-balanced area for people to work in, but also to gain some kind of prominence over their opposition, especially in the Far East and so on. I was reading about that, but when they build a building, they make sure that they're overlooking somebody else and not being overlooked by them.
Interesting.
That kind of thing. Yeah, direction that it's facing and all that sort of thing. But, we don't know what Tim's doing, but I would just say to him that, you've got a lot of stuff inside of you that's wanting to be expressed, and design obviously is there, so just have a think about it, and dreams are there to help you and to guide you.
And who would think if a person has, and this isn't a long, drawn-out dream. It's pretty short and sweet, but there's so much to it. So I heard about some technology, some new alarm clock that goes off, and I wish I had briefed myself before we talked, but that goes off progressively so that people can wake up and remember their dreams and then are encouraged to journal them. We'll have to talk about this at some point in the future.
Oh, yes. I haven't heard that, no.
Because so often, if you get up and you just walk a few feet, you start to forget your dreams. So,
oh, yes, you've got to hang on to them, especially if you've got pets. As I do, and you're having a dream and it's really great, and then a cat lands on you or whatever.
right. There goes the dream. But so even if you have this seemingly funny, seemingly nonsensical dream, jot it down, because there could be all of this symbology, spiritual, creative, really important life path sort of stuff there to analyze.
Well, let's say good luck to Tim, and we'd be happy to look at any other dreams he has, or if he wants to talk to you about things, that's great too. Or me. I'm here to talk to.
Perfect.
So I enjoyed that very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And listeners, if you have any dreams, you can email me at retroality@comcast.net. Yvonne and I look over your dream, and maybe it'll be part of a future segment. And also, of course, we always refer people to your website, YvonneRyba.com, and, interact with us. The show's becoming more interactive, and we thank Tim again, and we look forward to more dreams from you guys.
We do. Thank you very much.